What's going on, gardeners? It's Wednesday, November 2nd, and it is a gorgeous fall day here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to grow all the leeks you want for free using the cut leftover ends from grocery store leeks.
If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell to receive new video notifications, and check out our Amazon storefront and spread shop in the video description for a list of the gardening products I use and awesome custom designed apparel and other gear. Your support is greatly appreciated.
In order to reduce the cost of leeks, I actually grow my own leeks from seed, and that's what you see in this seed tray right here. This is a tray full of leek seed that has only recently germinated. However, what if you don't want to start leek seed, or if you can't find leek seed, or if it's the wrong time of year for you to start leek seed? What if there was an easier way to grow leeks? Did you know that you could actually replant your leek roots after you use the leek stalks themselves? That's because we only eat this part of the leek stalk right here, which is the white portion and the green portion. We cut off the greenery that are the leaves at the top, and we're left over with this white root at the bottom. Leeks are an incredibly delicious and versatile item to use in the kitchen. However, this little bunch of leeks right here cost $4 from the grocery store. At these crazy prices, that makes leeks a luxury item. The ends of the leeks that you see right here, these roots can actually be re-rooted, replanted, and they will regenerate into new leek stalks. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use 1 or 2 of these leeks for dinner tonight. So when I cut up the leeks, I am going to save the root ends. Now when I use these leeks, it's going to be too dark at night for me to do anything with the root ends immediately. So I'm going to put them in a shallow glass of water to keep the roots hydrated. Then I will bring them out to my garden and replant them.
The next day,
believe it or not, it's the very next day. It's November 3rd. Look, you can see it on my watch right there. It has been less than 24 hours since I cut this leek. So I cut it for dinner last night, and I saved the root ends, and I kept it in this little glass jar of water. And you can see how quickly the leek is regenerating. Obviously, I cut this flush for dinner, and it's already pushing out some new stem, and I swear the roots have already doubled in size. That's how quickly these babies regenerate. So now we're going to go outside into the garden and plant it. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to plant the end of our leek. And in order to do that, I'm going to pull the mulch back from my garden bed. I always like to make sure to keep my garden beds mulched to protect the soil. And I'm going to lightly excavate the soil by hand. And then I'm just going to, obviously with the root side down, press the roots into the soil and lightly compact around the leek. And then that's really all you need to do. Just press around to make sure that the roots of the leek are fully buried. And then I'm going to lightly water in the leek. Under normal circumstances, what you would want to do is simply push the mulch around the leek, making sure not to bury the top of the leek. You want to make sure that you leave the top exposed for airflow so it doesn't rot. Then every day for the first week, you would come outside and lightly water it, because you need to make sure that the soil stays constantly and evenly moist in order for the leek to root. However, I actually have to leave my house for a few days. I have to travel for work, so I'm not going to be home to water it every day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these 1-gallon milk jugs, they're actually water jugs, that I cut the bottom out of, and I'm going to place that around the leek, and then I'm going to backfill the mulch around it. And what this is going to do is it's going to preserve the humidity and keep that leek nice and moist without me watering it every single day. But I'm going to leave the cap off, that way it doesn't build up too much heat during the day. Now I'm going to wet it down around this bottle. So I'm going to water this for the next 2 days while I'm still here. Then before I leave for my 3-day trip, I'm going to give it one more good watering. And then when I come back from the trip, we're going to take this milk jug greenhouse away and see how the leek is doing. It's Saturday, November 12th, and I was away at a conference for work all last week in Atlanta, so I wasn't able to tend to the leek that I planted at all. Now, I planted this back on November 3rd, and it's been 9 days since. So let's remove this milk jug right here and see if anything at all has happened in the 9 days since I planted it. And remember, I haven't done anything aside from the initial watering, and we got some rain in between, which made sure to keep everything pretty moist. So now let's let's remove this milk jug, and I'm really excited to see what we have underneath. What? What? Are you kidding me? Look at this thing right here. This is absolutely unbelievable. This thing is close to a foot tall already. It's like completely rooted in there, and it's grown all of these new tops. None of this was here when I left. It was just a little tiny nub, and now it's, look at it compared to my hat. It's bigger than a hat. And I'm gonna put a little side by side here from what it looks like now to what it looked like when I planted it only 9 days ago. I'm absolutely blown away by what I'm seeing right now. This is incredible. Wow, that vastly exceeded my expectations, but if you notice, there is a second milk jug greenhouse right here. And this second milk jug greenhouse is the second leek that I used for dinner 2 nights later. So while I planted this one on the 3rd, I actually planted this one on Saturday the 5th, and I wound up leaving for the conference on Sunday the 6th. So this one has been in ground for only 7 days, and I haven't looked at this at all, so I have no idea what to expect. Again, this one was 9 days. Let's see this one after 7 days. Look at that. That is absolutely incredible. It almost looks just as good. I'll bring you in for a closer look. And that right there is a close-up of the 2 leeks. This was the one that was planted 9 days ago, and this was the one that was planted 7 days ago. So you can clearly see the obvious difference in height. But what is incredible is you can see down here and down here, this is the cut marks where I chopped them down for cooking purposes. So everything above here is new, and everything above here is new. That is all new growth. So these are clearly well rooted and they're chugging along, and I'm going to have brand new leeks for harvest before I know it. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that these milk jug greenhouses probably accelerated the growth rate of these leeks because they trap a lot of heat during the day. So these leeks were growing in a very warm microclimate, and I would be willing to bet that that greatly accelerated the rooting. So if you just plant these out in the open, don't expect them to take off as quickly. But again, you can use these cut up milk jugs as a hack in order to make them grow even more quickly. Now, that being said, these leeks are getting pretty close to growing up above these greenhouses. So it's getting pretty late in the afternoon and it's a fairly overcast day. So now is the perfect time for me to take these off and let them acclimate to the full UV spectrum of the sun, because the milk jug greenhouses are going to block some of the UV. So don't pull them off in the middle of a very sunny, warm day. Pull them off either in the evening or on a rainy or overcast day when the UV index isn't so intense so they can acclimate to full sun. And that right there is how you can grow free leeks using the cut ends of grocery store leeks after you use the stem for dinner. And as you can tell by my reaction on this video, I'm completely blown away by how well and how quickly they grew. This is an incredible way to divert the cost of leeks because they are pretty expensive, often costing over $1 each. So this is a great way to turn a luxury item into a cheap item because you can replant them and propagate them again. Now, that being said, I don't know how many times you can go ahead and do this. If I harvest them and I cut them again, will I be able to replant them and grow a 3rd leek and get 2 free leeks? I don't know the answer to that question, but it's pretty awesome that you can at least do this once in order to halve the cost of the leek at the grocery store. Oh, and one more little tip. This doesn't just relate to leeks. You can do the exact same thing with green onions. So if you like buying green onions, you can also save the cut ends and plant them again, and they will regenerate into green onions all over again. So you can once again get free onions from grocery store leftover roots. So if you like this video, maybe later in the year I can make a video on how to do that as well. So everybody, I sure hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you're notified when we release more videos like these. If you're curious about any of the products that I use for real in my garden, they are all linked down below in my Amazon storefront in the video description. So expand that video description, click on the Amazon storefront link, and you can see everything I use in real life. And while you're there, check out my spread shop for custom merch if you want to support the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Dale, you're being such a good boy. It is such a beautiful night. I can't believe how gorgeous it is for being well, almost the 2nd week of November, and it's like 75 degrees out with the sun setting. It's so nice. We are having such a nice walk together. My Daily deserves a treat for being such a good boy. Very good, buddy. Very good. What a beautiful evening we're having together.